June is Youth Month, and we'll be looking at different initiatives and work that young people of the country are doing throughout the month. This week, we'll look at the efforts young people from Alexandra Township have done to educate their community on COVID-19 and the ways in which they are helping the government in fighting this virus. Murendeni Nefale is the CEO of Pax Africana Holdings. He joins us now via Skype to share more on this initiative. Murendeni, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Simpiwe. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
It's a pleasure. You guys have been on the streets of a few townships in South Africa educating the masses on coronavirus, isn't it? Now, what is the general stigma around this virus?
Yes, what we're seeing across the provinces that our field workers have been able to be in is that generally people are still, we have a number of people who are still not taking the virus as seriously, particularly then as far as when they hear some people talk about the fact that they've tested positive. We see that they are ridiculed. We see that in one instance with some of our learners, as we're conducting the training, we realized that when they got their results and they notified some of the people that they were living with, they were actually told that they are lying. They were told that this thing is not real. And so we are seeing that there's still a certain ignorance. We're seeing that there's still our people are still seeing it as though it's not real. And people then, even for some of those that do take it seriously or do believe when people say that they have tested positive, we're seeing that they tell them to stay away from them. And so it feels like it's very similar to when HIV and AIDS was spreading very rapidly in the country all those years ago.
And with many people back at work and children starting soon, what is the overall attitude and behavior of the people? Are they really anxious?
People are definitely anxious. People are seeing what's happening in the media, seeing what's happening on the news, on TV. And you have those who, as mentioned earlier, you have those who are going on their lives as though nothing is happening, as though nothing is new. There are those that are wearing masks. There are those who aren't wearing masks. There are those who are very scared and very nervous. And then there are those who are saying, if it hits me, it hits me. And so we're seeing that a number of people have been anxious on the side of just wanting to go back to life as normal, wanting to go back to work, wanting to go back to protecting their livelihoods, and bringing in money, And so that's one of the big things that we're seeing people sort of trying to find a balance between wrestling with that tension, as we know that our leadership is trying to navigate the same thing in the country and globally. And so we're seeing a variety of responses to the virus, particularly with lockdown at level 3 now.
And since the start of this campaign, you targeted 65 townships, isn't it? Which areas have you managed to visit?
Yes, in fact, we targeted 45 locations across 5 provinces. And of those locations, we have actually been to all 45 locations as far as being on the ground, as far as equipping and training young people in those respective areas. And so the approach was we identified the areas in the country that have been most affected by the virus. And so over the past couple of months, that was primarily Gauteng, the Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, and Eastern Cape. And then we identified some of the most highly populated and highly dense communities. So that's a number of townships in those communities. And so we went across across the 5 provinces. We went across various locations: Alexandra, Khayelitsha, Umlazi, Bloemfontein, Welkom, Hammanskraal, Vereeniging, Rodenport.
Yeah.
And so we've locations across the country.
And do you find that people are responsive to young people educating them about this virus? Do they actually listen and give them time?
We were a little bit nervous about whether people would actually give them time and listen to them, because we are going to places and areas where people are already sort of amassing, And so in Alexandra, I was with the team yesterday as they were on the ground. We're in Alexandra Plaza, and so people were going about their everyday lives, and we had a number of people who were actually willing to list out young people and being approached by a young person who's got energy, and you can see that something is going on. And so people are willing to give us that initial ear, because we have our people going out with boards that have the 5 preventative measures that we look at. They've got masks, they've got face shields, they've got PPE. And so people then give us a moment. And then when our young people get into the campaign, educating people about the coronavirus, informing them how to protect themselves, then they give us their time. You, of course, have some people who are going about their way and they say, no, thank you, I'm okay. But overall, we've been encouraged by the response that our communities are giving our young people. And they're giving them an ear. They're listening to them.
You know, Murendeni, great work you guys are doing. Keep on pushing it. And yeah, South Africa really rallies behind the kind of work that you do. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thank you so much, Pio. Have a wonderful day.